Good morning, everybody. If you are watching this in the morning, I'm recording it in the morning. But if it's not the morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Truman Show reference. Yes, we're back with another vlog. There's a couple of things to talk about this week. One of them is an announcement, but I'll get to that in a minute. We've got a little bit of WRC news. Monte Carlo is next week, so next week I'll do a bit of a preview of that. But I think the main thing we've probably had in the last few days is liveries. It seems a long time ago, doesn't it, that Toyota unveiled their dark 2024 livery. It's obviously a big departure for them. Their cars have generally been predominantly white with the black and red, and for this year they are black with red and a bit of white. So that's a nice change. And it seems, as I wrote in an article earlier this week, that it's kind of all changed, isn't it? Because everyone's livery is quite different this year. So was it at the tail end of last week we got to see the 2024 Puma, which has now adopted a white-based livery. Obviously still lots of Red Bull sponsorship. I'm going to have to say, I know it's been getting quite a lot of love. I'm going to say I think I preferred the blue from last year. It's not a bad livery. I'm not going to criticise it, but yeah, I think I preferred the blue. I know a lot of people like the purple from the year before, and at the time I quite liked it because it was quite impactful, but looking back on it, I don't think it's aged very well, if that makes sense. And I think the blue from last year looked better. It was kind of, I don't know, just slightly better resolved, I think, for me. I think I saw someone say that the livery for this year with the white actually has echoes of the Volkswagen Polos from a few years ago. And I kind of see that, and now it's difficult to unsee it. So thank you, whoever said that. So yes, anyway, so we had those, and now this week we have finally had the Hyundai, and for them, it's not as dramatic as the other two, but it is also quite a big change because their liveries have been generally very consistent over the last few years. This one is probably the biggest change for them. So the base colour has changed. I know some of you might look at it and think, no, it hasn't, it's the same blue it always is. It isn't. They've gone for a kind of lighter version of the blue. It shows, doesn't it? I hadn't realised it had changed so much, but having gone back, it has changed a lot. So they have gone to the blue that they used on their 2014 World Rally car, which was their first year, which seems insane, doesn't it, that they have been back for 10 years. I think they deserve a lot of credit for that. Their commitment to the championship, to commit to the top level of the sport for a decade, I think that's something we have to be really grateful for, isn't it? So their new livery is based on that original light blue colour, and they've changed the way that the kind of reddy, orangey and the dark blue are incorporated into that. So there's some H's on the side of the car. Yeah, it's okay. I think it's nice to see them at least doing something a little bit different, isn't it? So we know what all the cars will now look like. I'm sure there might be some little aero tweaks that are unveiled, but yeah, so it's nice to see all the cars. The other thing I just want to mention very quickly, there was an article on Dirtfish by David Evans which talked about the fact that the idea of Rally 2 Plus might still be on the table, which is, I have mixed feelings. I'm pleased in a way because, as I've said so many times, I think we need to get rid of Rally 1 as soon as we possibly can because it isn't working. So I'm relieved in a way that we have this intention or this openness to discussion in terms of the working group that was put together. So that's good. The way they've gone about it is relatively sensible. And I say that because my personal belief is that I don't think the plus thing is actually necessary. I know some people would argue that Rally 2 cars aren't exciting enough. And I get that, but I don't agree with it. I think if you put the top drivers in Rally 2 cars, I think that would be more than enough. And I think we'd have forgotten about Rally 1 within a season. Not even a season. You know, I think the level of competition we'd have between Neuville and Tanak and Evans, I don't think anyone would notice after a few rallies. That said, I think they have gone about it in a relatively sensible way. So what they're talking about is it would be a kit of parts to upgrade a Rally 2 car. It would give it more aero, a bit more power. So I think that's sensible because what they're talking about is that you could add that kit to an existing Rally 2 car So it would be possible for someone to buy or potentially even just hire that kit. So someone who's got a Rally 2 car could buy the kit or hire the kit and add it, and then if they wanted to do their local WRC round in a top level car, they could do so, and the cars would be capped at around 300,000 euros. A little bit of caution there, the current Rally 2 cars are capped at about 200,000 and none of them cost that, because the problem with the cost cap is that while it exists, if you buy a brand new Rally 2 car, you can buy it for the base price, but it doesn't come with spare wheels and certain things, so you do have to be a bit careful with that. But at least they're still talking about it. I think that, I don't want to get too much into it because we're still kind of waiting to see what happens, but I am pleased that there is still discussions on the table, because I think we have to seriously talk about what we're doing. I think for Rally 1 to continue is just nonsense. So fingers crossed, common sense prevails. So let's end all of that there, because I want to get to the announcement part of this, which is very exciting, and I am going to be doing something that I have not done for 5 years since this. So that is 2019, the Snetterton Stages, which was part of the Motorsport News Circuit Championship, and I am pleased to say that in a few weeks I will be back at Snetterton for the Motorsport News Circuit Championship, doing the rally in a Subaru Impreza, and I am very, very excited by this. It has been 5 years, as I said. I am going to do a video. I was thinking yesterday I should do a video about the Escort there, because there isn't much on YouTube about it. There was lots on my Instagram about it at one point. So I will do a video talking a little bit about that, because I built that car myself. So I don't want to get into that now, but I will do a video about it. I will just say that obviously I did the Snetterton rally in the UK in 2019 in that car. It's the only rally I've done to date, apart from a road rally, or 12-car road rally I did once, and track days. Done quite a few track days over the years. So that was kind of the culmination of lots of work of putting that car together. But since then, kind of life has meant that I had to move the car on and refocus on other things. So obviously with living in Saudi Arabia, doing rallies is not very easy, but I have come up with a plan with the help of my lovely wife to do the rally in a few weeks in a hired Impreza. I want to say a big thank you to Dylan Davis, who owns the car, for helping put together the hire deal. It was surprisingly difficult to hire a rally car, I must say. I thought it would be much easier. You see lots of people hiring cars, don't you? But I think in the UK at least, it seems to be that a lot of people now only rent out R5 or Rally 2 cars. Hiring lower category cars is perhaps not as easy as I thought it would be. My initial intention was to try and get into an R2 car, like just a 1600 Fiesta or something, because my experience is generally in front wheel drive cars, and I thought that would be a bit easier, and I thought it'd be fun to drive a relatively modern front wheel drive car. But there wasn't much available in that respect. One of the reasons I went to Dylan is because he did have an R2 Fiesta, but he no longer has that. But once we got chatting, the Impreza worked out. So I will give you a little bit more information about the car in another video, but it is a 2008 Impreza R4. So that's kind of an evolution of the Group N regulations that they brought in a few years ago. I say a few years ago, it was a long time ago now, wasn't it? It's probably 10 years ago. It's not quite in full R4 spec, so a lot of R4 cars end up with sequential and dog gearboxes, whereas this has the 6-speed STI gearbox, but generally speaking, it's an R4 car. So that is very exciting. As I say, perhaps I'll talk a little bit more about the process and what went into it and getting organised and what it's like trying to do an event when you don't actually live in the country where the event is. Maybe that is something to talk about in a future video, and maybe just also some of the other stuff. If you've never done a rally before, I think it would be worth talking about some of the things that you have to do, some of what has to go into it. So it's been a few years since I've done an event, so figuring out safety equipment and all that stuff has been a bit of a challenge. So I think that will be a topic for another video. Maybe I'll try and squeeze in a little bonus video somewhere, but obviously next week we'll talk about Monte Carlo. But I did just want to make that little announcement, and I say a big thank you to Dylan, who we will talk about more in an upcoming video. But yeah, I just wanted to put it out there. don't expect fireworks. I'm just doing this to have fun. My co-driver is my best friend back in the UK, he's actually done a few more events than me, but this is all about just going there, having a laugh, ticking another box. You know, I've never driven a four-wheel drive car in competition, so that will be something different and a steep learning curve, I'm sure, but I do not care about the results. All I care about is going there and enjoying myself and having the experience, seeing how we get on, and seeing if it is a route to doing more events in the future. So yes, we will end this video right there, and next week, as I say, will be Monte Carlo preview. And as always, thanks very much for watching. One final quick thing is that we did cross 200 subscribers in the last few days, which I'm very, very grateful for. And if you haven't already, do subscribe and follow me on social media, and I will see you again in the next vlog.